So hello and welcome back to the channel everyone. Hope you all are well and you had a nice game week 10. So finally we're heading towards game week 11 and game week 10 was a pretty mixed one. We had some expected and some unexpected returns. A lot of picks people brought in did pretty well. Like some had Bowen, he scored a penalty, some went for Zaha, he was among an attacking return. He got an assist later on for the 2-1 victory Crystal Palace had, and some of them went for Foden like me. I did a late move that evening. Like before the deadline, I went on for Foden instead of Luis Diaz. I thought Luis Diaz wasn't much influential. Obviously, he was among the attacking returns previously, but the Liverpool side hasn't been much influential. So I went on with Foden, and things did turn out pretty well for me. So I did score 79 points this game week, and I currently am ranked on 161k. But I'm expecting a drop tonight as there is a Villa versus Nottingham Forest game, and I do not own any asset from that side. So in this one, I'll discuss my team selection for game week 11. I'll talk about whether I'll make a transfer or not, or I'll go in with two free transfers in game week 12, which is a blank game week for Arsenal and for Man City. So if you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel and help me reach 700 subs sooner. You will see weekly videos on football fantasy like UCL fantasy, FPL, and I would cover the World Cup fantasy too. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the game week 11 team selection graphics. So let's go. So starting in goal, I've got Guetta again. He's up against Leicester. He got 3 points in this game week. So the thing is that with Crystal Palace, the keeper is usually busy. They do have a balanced side. Their defense is alright, and with Guetta, I do expect some clean sheets in upcoming games. The set of fixtures is pretty nice. Comparing him to like a lot of people have Pope, and the thing is that Newcastle United, they do not have like some strong fixtures, or you could say some easy fixtures for points. So if you look at Crystal Palace, their set of fixtures is pretty nice, and you can expect some clean sheets in the upcoming games. That is the reason I've picked up Guetta over Pope. Now, if you've got Pope, that doesn't mean that he's a bad keeper or anything similar to that. If you're lucky, you might get a clean sheet too. So this is where Pope does make a lot of saves. So yeah, extra points for the saves too. So that doesn't mean you have to rush with your decisions. If you've got Pope, that doesn't matter. Things are fine for now. So just don't worry about it too much. But for me, I've gone with Guetta, who plays Leicester at away. Now the defense comes in, and it is a 3 at the back setup. Cancelo obviously plays Liverpool. On paper, this is not an easy fixture, but looking at Liverpool's form, I think this is a pretty juicy fixture for Cancelo. He has been among the attacking returns like Trent before, like last season, and before that, Trent has always been among the attacking returns, and Cancelo was not consistent with his attacking returns. He's usually among the clean sheets, but this season he is rewarding us toys. So yeah, if you don't have Trent and you're looking for a premium wing back, I would say Cancelo. It isn't too late in the season, and you can still jump on him. He's obviously a lot higher than he was at the start of the season, but Cancelo is the guy this season. I wouldn't prefer James, even though I own him, but I wouldn't prefer James in his current form. Cancelo is the guy. You can probably double up on Man City defense if you want. They are pretty good and the most solid team in Europe currently. So yeah, Cancelo faces Liverpool at away. Next up, I've got Trippier. This is not an easy fixture for Newcastle, but I do expect Newcastle to score, and this is where Trippier comes in. He has been among the attacking returns recently. He's pretty good with the crosses. He's pretty much involved up ahead, and this is where I personally think that playing Trippier would reward me. Man United is obviously conceding goals. They did end up conceding a goal versus Everton. Later on, they did win the game 2-1, but still, I personally think that United will not keep a clean sheet in this one. They are not looking defensively pretty solid with Varane missing now. So this is the pretty sole reason I have got Trippier in. Obviously, Trippier would end up losing his clean sheet. United in any form, they do score goals. They've got a nice attack with the likes of Rashford. Martial's probably injured, but they've got Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Antony is playing pretty well. So it wouldn't be easy for Newcastle to keep a clean sheet, but they have the tendency to keep a clean sheet. What is expected is an attacking return from Trippier, and that is what I wish for. Next up I've got James. James was rotated this game week, and he has been hurting me since the time I've picked him up. This was pretty much a story last season too. He was scoring and assisting, and the moment I picked him up, his points went into the binary digits, and I got 1-0, 1-0, and that was pretty awful stuff. But this season, the case is similar. He hasn't been like as awful as he was last season because he got injured in the middle. But I expect him to be among the attacking returns, at least give me some clean sheets. But he hasn't been doing either. But I do expect Chelsea to bounce back, to retain their defensive shape, to come back in that defensive shape they used to be. And James is like they're like an option who is less likely to be rotated, although he was rotated in the last game, but he's still pretty much safe. And if you own him, that's alright, you can still hold on to him. And if he still fails, I had a comment last week from Katia, I remember, and she said that she had similar problems like I had. And the thing is that James is obviously a premium defender. If he's not among the attacking returns, he's not returning clean sheets, he's pretty much dead wood for me in FPL. Obviously, he's a great player for Chelsea. I'm not talking about Premier League wise, I'm talking about FPL wise. So yeah, if this this shithousery continues, I would have to take out James for someone, probably someone from Everton, because they look a pretty solid side. But I still would have to look at some of the fixtures they have, and when the good fixtures start, I might go for them. Koulibaly is playing games currently. He's been starting games, and he could be a cheaper option to cover that Chelsea defense if they do keep some clean sheets. Now we move on to the midfield. I've got Maddison. Maddison has been now poor in 2 back-to-back games, but Maddison is obviously probably in only one game, not 2 back-to-back games. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, Maddison has been he's their main man. He's the main man from Leicester, and with Vardy now not taking that main role and Daka coming in, I personally think that Maddison is still a guy to hold on to. Crystal Palace, obviously they're conceding goals, and I do have Guaita at the back, and I would wish for them to keep a clean sheet, but that realistically that isn't the case. Leicester is an attacking side. Leeds was an attacking side. They did end up scoring a goal, and similar is the case with Leicester. Hopefully Maddison would be involved because he's an excellent playmaker and he has a tendency to just go in and explode. So that is the game Leicester has. Now we move on to Zaha, who has been the golden boy on Twitter. A lot of people jumped on him, and Leicester away is another juicy fixture. Hopefully Zaha would be involved because Crystal Palace overall looks a pretty better side than they were last season. Although their goals are they're divided, a lot of goal scoring potential players they have, but Zaha is obviously a great winger. Once he's in space, he's unstoppable. He cuts in, although he lacks a little bit finishing, but he's still a guy I would hold on to due to the good set of fixtures. Now if you've got Bowen, that doesn't mean you just jump onto Zaha and take Bowen out. Bowen at his place is also a good pick, and obviously he's not playing the game he was playing last season, but he is among the attacking returns, and I wouldn't want to take out a player who's been consistent. Now that brings me to Foden, a consistent guy from I did bring him in the last game week, but he has been returning before that. A lot of YouTubers went for him in the previous game week, and he was the substitute for. Once he hit form, he started hitting his good form. He was a good substitute for for the people who do not have Kevin De Bruyne, but I would pretty much hold Foden. Now if you are in a situation where you see you've got 4 players blanking in game week 12, I wouldn't pretty much mind that. That doesn't matter. You hold on to your Man City assets. Let Martinelli blank too. Hold him, because I will talk about Martinelli later on, but I would suggest hold him. Don't worry, don't panic. That doesn't matter. You don't have to play any chip. You don't have to take a -4. Just hold on to these players. One player who's not playing, or obviously we could say one less player in the playing 11 doesn't really make a big difference. It doesn't mind if you score less than your rival. It's just a one game, and Foden in the in a longer run could be one of the guys, a big differential who might return you points, because he's been linking up with Haaland pretty well, and I personally think that he has somewhat cemented his place in Pep's. Obviously he is a first team starter in Pep's side, but he'll be getting much more exposure now as he's linking up with Haaland pretty much and pretty well, better than Grealish, who has not just been up to the mark since he has joined Man City. So yeah, this was about Foden. Next we move on to Martinelli. Martinelli, a pretty cheap option on set pieces. He has been tremendous. I personally think he should be selected for the World Cup in the Brazil squad, but obviously I'm not a team selector, and I would just suggest, if the Brazilian team selectors are watching, Martinelli is really potential option. Yeah, obviously there's room for improvement, but he's been tremendous at that wing, and he's the guy that actually forced that substitution. Obviously Trent was injured, but if he was playing bad and injury wasn't really an issue, Martinelli was the guy who just he went all out on Trent, and Trent couldn't defend him because Martinelli is such a nice player. A pretty cheap option, and he's been returning points pretty much in and out, and Leeds obviously again a defensively weak side, and this could be a feast. Now we move on to the three attackers. Two of them are flagged. Kane and Mitrovic, just to tell you, are not 100%, but I expect them to start now. Mitrovic was obviously rested in this game week, game week 10, but he's still 75%, and I personally think that he would be back for this Bournemouth good fixture against Bournemouth. Now Bournemouth do look like a side that it would probably be up on 12 or 15, but they are on 8 in the Premier League, and they are not conceding a lot of goals, so keep this in mind. I wouldn't prefer Andreas Mitrovic double up, but if you are out of options, this is obviously a good move to do. You just bench the guy who has a bad fixture, someone like with the likes of, I've got Dalot and Guehi, who are not like someone who have a good fixture, or someone in your midfield who doesn't have a good fixture. You can play Andreas in this game. I don't obviously I'm not claiming that Andreas and Mitrovic will not be among points, but this is not an easy fixture on paper as it looks like. So this pretty much sums up Mitrovic. I've got Kane. Kane has been consistent. He's been scoring goals. If you just look at his record, there is goal, assist, goal, and this is how he has been performing. Everton, another nice fixture. Everton, although have really been assembled, and they look like a better side under Lampard. I saw a lot of tweets on Twitter telling people that Lampard ball was the truth, and appreciation for Lampard for bringing out the good side out of this Everton team, and they're playing pretty much well. But Kane would still be among the attacking returns because he has been consistent in Premier League. He had problems last season, but this season Kane has been their main man. He's good at scoring headers, and obviously he doesn't need any introduction or me telling his skills and abilities. He is a top-notch guy, and probably one of the greats in this Premier League. So Kane against Everton is still a delightful fixture, and I would hold on to him. Next up is Haaland, Mr. Robot. He's been unstoppable. Anyhow, he's not playing a good game, or he's not getting too much services. Anyhow, he ends up scoring a goal, and Liverpool's weak defense, where Arsenal scored 3 goals. Obviously, I'm not taking the credit from Arsenal. Arsenal are playing pretty well, and I personally think that if there's a clash between them and Barcelona, they would actually be a side with the better stats and better goals, and they would actually defeat big teams in Europe. But talking about Haaland again, Liverpool is not defensively playing pretty much well. They've been exposed. Their tactics, they're pretty much predictable. Matip isn't playing pretty well. Van Dijk looks a bit lacking. Their wing backs are missing. Now Trent is injured too. Haaland, give him captaincy, play Haaland, he's the main guy. Now if you want a big differential in that side, you might go for 4-2, but I would still suggest Haaland, pretty much safe, pretty much the guy to go for. Now if you look at the bench, I've got Ward. He did return me 1 clean sheet, and that was enough for him, so he might just take a big rest on the bench. I've got Guehi. Do not expect him to keep a clean sheet in this one, but just as Guetta might return me some saving points, Guehi might not be able to do that. Dalot has been disappointing. I thought he was my differential ones. They look defensively alright, but the teams that are able to score would score against United in their current form. Obviously, they are still trying to assemble themselves, and I think that this Dalot transfer in the wild card won't live up to the mark, and I would have to let him go for someone like probably Tarkowski or someone, probably Fofana if he's back. But right now I'll just let him stay on the bench. At least I've got someone who's playing and probably not giving him clean sheets because he was awful in the last game, Dalot. But I personally think that he's a safe starter. Probably be a safe starter after last game, but he's been in the good books under Ten Hag, and I personally think that I'm pretty much safe with Dalot. At least he's a starter. So this is how my team is intended to line up. I would roll my free transfer and I would want to go in game week 12 with two free transfers. If I would want to take out Dello for someone, I would probably go do that move. Or if Mitrovic is still missing, I would just take him out and just look at some of the options. So this is just room for injury. To keep up room for injury, I would drag my 2 transfers. If pretty much necessary, I would use them, but if not, I'll just be happy with 1 free transfer. I'm suggesting again, if you've got 4 players like Cancelo, Foden, Haaland, Cancelo, KDB, Haaland, and someone like Martinelli or Saka, I would personally say hold on to them. If you've got 4 players that you have to bench 3, just throw one into the field. That won't make a big difference. Just don't panic and stick to this, because Martinelli, Haaland, Foden, KDB, Cancelo and Saka are absolutely hold picks. Just don't rush in, don't panic, and don't panic sell them. So this would be my advice. Let me know your suggestions below and let me know how are you intending to line up. So this is it from my side. Please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching.